It's my privilege and we are fortunate to have Dr. Jagannath Boramani with us to deliver his next talk. I'll introduce Dr. Boramani. He's one of the pioneers of small incision cataract surgery. In fact, he's the executive chairman of International Society of MSICS. He's won 6 awards in MOSCON, first prize for paper in PG section, then Dr. Pandit Award, Best Academic Private Practitioner Award, and Dr. Chitnis Oration Award, and the Best Video Award. He was also given Sante Vision Award by AIC in 2014. He has done live surgical demonstrations in various places in India and also abroad, conducts wet labs and talks in ESCRS, WOC, APACRS in South Africa, contribution in 7 textbooks, ex-editor of Journal of ISMSAICAS, and his chairman of World Conference CCC 2015 and 2019, which we all know was a hugely successful conferences. And over to you, Dr. Boramani, for your talk on astigmatism management in SICS surgery, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Bala. Can I share my slide?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
We can see it, sir.
And you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can, sir.
Okay. First of all, let me thank the office bearers of AIOS and the scientific committee for giving me this opportunity. I am going to speak on the management of astigmatism in SICS. Scleral tunnel incisions are very secure, they heal very well, and they are forgiving type of incisions. A little bit of raggedness here and there and little bit variation in the size also does not matter much because they are well away from the optical axis. If anyone is asked what is the advantage of phacoemulsification over SICS, it is always said that it is the less induced astigmatism because the incision in phaco is a very small one. Most it is about 2.2 millimeters clear corneal incision. But if someone asks me, what is your induced astigmatism in your case? The question is very irrelevant to me because in my case, the person should ask how much astigmatism you can neutralize because I got my methodology of customizing the incisions. So generally from 0 to 2.5 astigmatism, I'm neutralizing because you don't get all cases only with 0.25 astigmatism, that too only with the temporal steep axis, so that you can tackle with a 2.2 millimeters clear corneal incisions. Your presentations of the cases are varying, different types of astigmatism are presented. All of you know about the incisional funnel. I don't want to go into the detail. The purpose of having a Frohn incision is to have less astigmatism, but the center of the incision is nearer the limbus, so the maneuvering of the instruments in the chamber are quite easy. If you have a straight 6 millimeter incision, approximately it induces about 1.75 diopters of astigmatism. That is the purpose. The incision is now curved, which is called as a Frohn incision, to induce the less astigmatism. So if you make it more and more curved, naturally it will induce less and less astigmatism. So this behavior can be used for neutralizing the pre-existing astigmatism. So after doing a lot of cases with different types of astigmatism, different shapes of astigmatism, and different sizes of the astigmatism in various quadrants, I have formulated my own nomograms. For example, if it is approximately about 1.7 astigmatism with a steep vertical axis, I will utilize a 7 millimeter straight incision. Bring down the size of the incision and progressively you will induce less and less astigmatism. With a 5 mm, it is about 0.82 diopter with a straight incision. Make the incision a little more curved. Naturally, the astigmatism will reduce. So make it progressively more and more curved. And if you have got a perfect U-shaped incision, generally it will not induce any astigmatism because very small curved part in the center will take part in the induction of the astigmatism. Temporally, the incisions are slightly weaker because they are away from the optical axis. Even a straight 7 mm incision will not induce much. It will induce only 1.08 astigmatism. Make the incision small to have a smaller astigmatism. If the temporal incisions are made more and more curved, they'll induce less and less, and they can be almost astigmatically neutral. Superior temporal and superior nasal, their behavior is in between the superior and temporal incisions. To have a perfect result, preferably center your incision exactly on the steep meridian so that the vector forces from both the sides are acting very well. Whatever may be the size of the incision, straight or curved, it should be centered on a steep meridian so you will have a better result. The question is where to sit for the surgery because the steep axis can be anyone, but you can have almost 180 degrees in the right hand, another freehand 180 degrees in the left eye, so that you can always avoid the nose. And maybe for right eye, you can operate between 20 degrees and 200 degrees. Similarly, you can operate between, say, 340 degrees and 160 degrees in the left eye. So you can sit anywhere depending upon the steep axis and neutralize. So all your one type of incisions you can put in one table. These are the softwares available on the internet to calculate your surgically induced astigmatism. So after doing about 15 to 20 cases, one type of incision, one shape of incision, put it in one table and you'll find out how much mean induction of the astigmatism will be there. So before showing the surgeries, I'll just show you few topographies. The post-op topographies are almost 20 days after surgery. Here it is only 0.39 diopters of astigmatism, which has been further brought down with a curved superiotemporal incision. In this case, it is a 1.12 diopter of astigmatism. So I utilize a straight incision to neutralize it to 0.15 diopters. Similarly, this is a temporal 1.4 brought down to 0.09. This is temporal steep 1.24 diopter with a temporal straight brought down to 0.34. Now, this is a case of multifocal IOL. There is almost no astigmatism. So I have not induced any astigmatism. It is almost same in pre and post-op. Now, these are the two interesting cases. Non-affording patient presented with 3.49 diopters of astigmatism. Patient couldn't afford toric IOL. So with a big straight incision, I brought it down to 0.64. The induced astigmatism was 2.98. This is another case. This was a patient affording one, 3.3 diopters, but without using a toric IOL, it was brought down to 0.5. So you can market this surgery as a premium surgery, even without using a premium IOL. So instead of paying more to the company, you can charge more surgical charges in such patients. This is a case of a doctor patient who wanted multifocal IOLs, and his astigmatism was 1.97 diopters. The steep axis on auto was 165. Here also, I didn't use a toric IOL, and I brought down his astigmatism to almost zero. It is 0.15 only. I utilize this is a left eye. I utilize a straight superior-nasal incision, and patient is enjoying a perfect vision without any refractive error. So this way you can customize your incision. So I prefer calling the terminology surgically corrected astigmatism instead of surgically induced astigmatism, because the upper one sounds like a unwanted pregnancy, the lower one sounds like a planned child.
Thank you, sir.
To have a perfect result, you should mark always in the sitting position. Use all the toric IOL marker instruments. Mark the 0 and 180 degree meridian, and then mark the center of the incision when the patient is lying down, whatever may be the shape of the surgery incision. And around the mark, this mark should come at the center of the incision so that you can have a better results. The advantage of this technique is that suppose there are two cases having two diopters of astigmatism, you are using only one type of incision in both the cases, but there can be some variation. Instead of having a perfect zero, there is under correction, only 1.5 neutralization. And maybe in the second case, there is 2.5 neutralization. So even if the error of the neutralization is almost 1 diopter, you can be mostly around zero, either on this side or that side. So either it can be 0.5 astigmatism in one meridian, or maybe it can be 0.5 in the meridian, which is a right angle to the eye. So this way we can customize the tunnel, and with this tunnel engineering, it is possible to wipe out or at least minimize the stigma of the astigmatism. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Your presentation is always very, very lucid and always teaches something new. May I ask Dr. Arup Chakravarti, one of the finest cataract surgeons in the country, to give his comments on that? Dr. Arup, sir? Or if Dr. Arup is still taking his time, Dr. M.S. Ravindran, sir. I mean, so you also done fantastic work on astigmatism after cataract surgery.
What I would recommend everybody is to analyze your data right from every case and make notes as to what you've done to get what kind of results. I would like to, put in certain inputs that in SICS, we tend to mimic the phacoemulsification by reducing the size of tunnel. But in phacoemulsification, the tunnel size has to be small so that there's no leak of fluid and you can keep the high pressures inside the eye. So that is not so in SICS. So SICS, our main aim is to preserve the structures of the eye, like preserve the endothelium, preserve the zonules, preserve the capsule, rather than trying to reduce the tunnel. Tunnel, as Dr. Boramani Jagannath has beautifully illustrated, we can manipulate the tunnel. Every hand, every surgery is different. There are hundreds of kinds of SICS. whatever kind of SICs you are excelling in, always you can excel only when you match what kind of astigmatism you have produced in every surgery. So unless you have the data, as on Excel file, you can easily create it and you can calculate SIA based upon it. And in your own hands, in your own setup, you have these data, and then you can apply, as Dr. Jagannath said, into your practice. So it's nice to mark the steep axis in every case, whatever it is, whether it's multifocal, unifocal lenses, mark the steep axis. I have compared the incisions on steep axis and non-steep axis, even when we are putting toric lenses. If you are done your incisions either on steep axis or on a flat axis, instead of an oblique axis, for example, if there is a withdrawal astigmatism, you go into a tunnel at 12 o'clock, or if you can't reach 12 o'clock, do it at 9 o'clock at a 3 o'clock position. Your astigmatism results is going to be different when compared to doing it in oblique, meridians. So there is a lot of factors that come into mind. Use standardization of surgery. External incision, internal incision has to be standardized using the correct blades, and then apply that onto the system and find out your SIA for a particular kind of surgery. As he beautifully said, different incisions you can make, different excels, or you can create, there are excels, there are a lot of varieties in doing it. You can take out the incisions that you have made, and then get the results and apply it in your practice. This is the biggest advantage we have in SICS. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think that is the take-home message which Dr. Boramani put forth and Dr. Ravindran said, is that we have to look at our own astigmatism, right, and we have to think differently for each and every patient, depending upon what were our results earlier. Thank you, sir. For the next speaker, we have one.
Parikshit, can I just ask one question from Dr. Boramani, sir?
Yes.
So, fully correct the astigmatism? Like, do you try to overcorrect against the rule and undercorrect with the rule? Number one. And number two, sir, depending on the profession of the patient, would you like to leave some amount of myopic ATR for near vision, or with the rule for distance vision?
Correct. If the patient is illiterate, correct. No, if the patient is illiterate, especially, he is more happy if you induce a slight amount of myopic astigmatism with the steep axis vertical. So you can do that thing also, but the methodology is same. So instead of perfectly neutralizing the astigmatism, try to make him say -0.5 diopter astigmatic with the steep axis vertical. Steep axis horizontal, or the meridian of the cylinder vertical. So this way the illiterate person will be happy. But when a person is going for a toric or a multifocal IOL, then try to make it astigmatically totally neutral. I am putting multifocal IOLs with more and more confidence because I know how much astigmatism I have got a very good control over the astigmatism. Secondly, after my presentation, you will feel that I don't put toric IOLs. It is not the case. If the steep axis is horizontal, generally, it is very difficult to neutralize more than 125 or 1.5. So in such cases, I use the toric IOLs.
Can I just add one point here?
Yes.
Okay. Number one is with the rule, astigmatism changes to against the rule with age. So younger the age, you minimize the correction that you're going to do with the rule. You try to leave a half diopter there. This is one point. The second point is astigmatism is not bad as was put up. It adds to the depth of field, depth of focus. So you leave it 0.75 astigmatism against rule. They'll have, you put a unifocal lens correct for distance, and he'll be able to read near. So astigmatism is not a villain all the time. Consider it as a friend, especially in a person who is using a lot of computers, a lot of things. You can leave a 0.75, 0.5 astigmatism against the rule. That's the one which gives maximum depth of field. These are the two hints that I would like to give. Astigmatism correction also, as I've noted, depends upon the corneal torosity. A steeper cornea and a smaller cornea will correct more of astigmatism per given incision when compared to a flatter and a larger cornea. These are things which you'll have to keep in mind when you're calculating the SIA.
Thank you, sir.